get an A, a letter which determines product quality.
So, in that topic, it's pretty just straightforward in terms of how things have changed in schooling or the current school in the U.S., but some places are pretty much similar, but has not changed. I mean, if you want to talk about back in the day when Harvard was one of the few schools out there, people went to high school, graduated high school, went to college in Harvard. That same system has been 100, 200 years, has been around, which is funny to think in terms of that. Yeah, maybe it's not broken, not fix it, whatever, but I think it's broken now because it's not made to encompass a big population now. And college is a big business now. It's not, because when you have coaches getting paid $100 million contracts, it's a big business. And I agree coaches should get that because they drive enrollment. Alabama was not a good school. They hired Nick Saban, one of the more popular schools, universities out there, just because of the coach's influence. Anyways, so this is my goal in life, or my passion is to build a boarding school and ultimately help change the education system. And it shouldn't be, because all of us had different educations in terms of that. I remember growing up, I was in special math classes, not even in class, even in middle school, in 6th grade. They sat me and young June, it was just me and young June in math class, by ourselves doing the regular math, then they gave us extra math in terms of that. And sometimes we finish that and we'll just be literally just sitting there in terms of that. Schooling should definitely be catered to an individual. It should be more of a cohort of teachers that elevate you from elementary to middle school, then to high school. In terms of you have the same routine instead of like, oh, we get new students, flush them out. New students, flush them out to next grade. New students, flush them out in terms of that. Because if I'm honest, there's a lot of skills that do not need. There's a lot of skills that do not need high school degrees. Mechanics who make good money, contractors that make good money, plumbers that make good money, electricians that make good money, software engineers that make good money. Technically, you don't. You should need college, but if I'm honest, there's a lot of people who don't have a college degree or a college degree in computer science that are very good in software engineering and stuff like that. So it should definitely be changed to match more holistic approach. It's like how medicine has changed so much. Our understanding of kids has changed so much more. It has to be more of a holistic approach to teaching students, not like a year-to-year basis, because all of us develop at a different rate. So it's so hard to assume that I didn't believe in hard work until like late in college, because I relied on talent so long. You know what I'm saying? But I also stayed on one track for so long that I wasn't something I was on that pre-med track for so long from high school, just because of just what I was supposed to do. I'm a foreign kid in America. I'm going to be a doctor. Right? That was just the track for me for so long, even though I had no passion in it at all in terms of that. And so, I mean, it's definitely the topic that I'm very passionate about, but there has to be a change. It has to be a fundamental change. It can't be, and I don't mind even the test, but the test shouldn't be for everybody, because some people are not going to college and they shouldn't go to college in terms of that. And if you really cared about the kids going to college, you should be in and out of college in 2 years with the amount of basic classes that you can take. You know, there's no way a community college does. You can't take community college stuff in high school. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? Those classes are not that much harder. You can just take your prereqs and go to college for 2 years and boom, you're out. But it's not set up that way right now because of the money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gen ed classes that are required. Yeah, like you said, keep that money flowing, keep you in there for 4 years, and get those federal funds in, right?
Yeah. I think I'll go last on this because I do work I teach and I work in education, and so maybe I'll let Saeed, if you want something to say.
I got a couple of things to say.
Go ahead.
So first things first, right? like to a point that Sam brought in, right? There's a lot of things in school that are, I feel like, highly unnecessary. Point being, right? If you look at the Pythagoras theorem, I've never fucking used that outside of high school, brother. Never in my fucking life have I ever used the Pythagoras theorem or PEMDAS or anything like that, right? Maybe I'll use it to teach my daughter when she comes in for some math, but personally, in my work line, I've never used it before. But you know what I was never taught? How to do taxes. Because guess what? Not only is the government not going to tell you how much you owe, but then you're going to have to pay them. And if you don't pay them, your ass goes to jail. That type of information I could have used at 31. I did not need to know what the fucking Pythagoras theorem was back in 16 or 17 because that has no real world condemnation, bro. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times in school, and like that's what Sam brought a good point as well, and so did the person in the video, it's very cookie cutter, right? If you look at from high school all the way to college, unless you're specialized in med school, you become a scientist or engineer, whatever it may be, right? Like, I have an economics degree, right? You know what I don't do in life? Look at supply and demand curves on a daily basis, right? But more importantly, that's my second part, right? I personally believe that it's like college-wise, right? Personally, unless you're getting one of those degrees where it's specialization, I think a degree just shows your employer that this person is mature enough to show up to classes on their own accord, to sit down in front of the teacher, and to actually give a damn about where they are to make a difference, right? That's all that 4 years worth of degree is going to show you, especially in the economics case, fam. I work in logistics and management, right? You know how much economy I have to study on a daily basis into there? Zero, right? But that degree showed them that they could trust me to show up to work, give a damn about what I'm doing, and then go home only to do it again, right? Now, if we're trying to change the whole outlook of what the basic economics is and how everybody goes to work on a daily basis, that's a different topic altogether. But point being, though, yes, it's very cookie cutter. But at the same time, I think when it comes down to your personal growth in life, personal growth and work-related stuff, that's going to be all up to you, right? However you want to make of it, right? If it took me 7 years to graduate college, because I dropped out twice, I didn't really give a damn. But then as soon as you realize, oh shit, okay, it's really not much about like giving a damn, but just showing up and paying attention, that's what changes for me, right? And like the same thing Sam mentioned, right? We're learning about that hard work later on. But as a professional now, working, not 9 to 5, but being able to work in a professional setting, I think my college degree does come in a useful way of making me realize, like, okay, I'm doing this for my own accord, and I have to do this for my own betterment. And that's what my thoughts are.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Saeed hit the nail on the head with like some of like how they value like school. A lot of the time is about obedience, not intelligence, right? It's about like the guy who does all the homework, turns in everything, and gets like C's on his exams. Tends to do a little bit better than if you miss a couple of assignments, right? That could be the difference between getting like an A, a B, and a C. And I think that's something that I'd like to see changed.
Yeah. Okay.
I do
So,
wanna add one point
go ahead.
before you, in terms of that. And I just didn't mean like, oh, screw college, you don't need college anymore in terms of that. But just to that 7 years in terms of that you took, you could have been exploring different things that could have gave you more of a
You're right.
You could have got that anywhere but college, so you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
In terms until you were ready and cultivated in terms of that.
Yeah.
Until your growth. And I don't mean you don't need college because, like I said, there's some things that college does give you: leadership skills and communication skills, social skills, dealing with people in different cultures, which are invaluable in terms of life skills. And we also went to high school where we built that being able to talk to a diverse group of people, which is not the same even in college, because it's not even as diverse in some cases, especially economically in terms of that too. So I don't want to bash college, just to let you know.
No, just to add on to that, that's not what I was referring to at all.
I'm just talking about you should elevate a lot of jobs which are very high paid versus you could easily be an electrician. Nobody tells you that and make $100K easily. You can be a welder.
A BMW mechanic makes $130,000 a year right now, man.
Yeah, but you can get marketing skills in high school and then be a great marketer in terms of.
But these aren't sought after jobs, like you said.
No, but the way that video says they're training you to be in a factory setting, not to be a business owner or running a business, an entrepreneur.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off though. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier, right? Like it's for example, like it took me 7 years, but the reason why I went back is because I started working professionally, right? Once you start working professionally, then you start realizing, oh shit, all college is really making me do is really embellish on these certain set of skills like you just mentioned, right? Being able to talk to people from different perspectives across the board, right? And that's something that either you're going to learn in college or you're going to learn in a professional setting. And like Sam brought up, right? Why not learn that in college, high school? So that way, when you're in the workforce, you're not having to sit there and be like, oh shit, I actually got to talk to people now.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Eve, where you
All
at?
right. So yeah. I mean, you guys all hit it on the head, hit the nail on the head. But I kind of just want to give another perspective on things. So back to the video. To be honest, I don't like the video. I agree with everything you guys are saying, and I agree with the message of the video. I just think the video is kind of corny. Like, it's like, what did the pen look like 50 years ago? Like, it looked like a pen. It still works, you know. What does a wheel look like 50 years ago? But anyway, that's besides the point. The education system is failing. Let's just be clear on that. It's not working for most people. Okay, especially in Malaysia, you would think they don't do it like they do in America, but it's actually worse. And it comes down to, it's not that where like it's not even at the college level. Okay, I think in college, you're an adult, so you have to be responsible. Like, you have to learn how to get things done. It's not so much. It's like Saeed said. It's not so much in remembering information, because nowadays in the information age, you don't need to do that. So it's about how do you mature, time management, can you complete this set of objectives? It's more about building character. So college is out, okay? So I don't even want to talk about college so much. Some people, it takes 4 years. Some people, it takes 7 years. Some people, it takes 3 years, right? Graduate early, get out of there, right? So that's just the personal thing. The real failure is happening in elementary school and middle school and high school. That's where the real failure is happening. Because when I see it a lot, I see people with good grades come into my university, but they don't perform. And I see people with not so good grades, but they get into the right program and they can perform well. So that's one indicator to tell you, look, grades in high school, not so much going to tell you how this kid's going to perform in school. Secondly, just the level where the students need to be, it's just they're not ready to actually do college. Like, the more people, I see a lot more students that sort of succeed better when they go into, like, in our university, we also have the 2-year degree to diploma. They go to the diploma first and then go into the bachelor. They tend to succeed rather than going from straight through high school to the bachelor. It's tough for a lot of them. Okay, so I think that, and also in my personal experience, at telling a kid at 16, 17, 18 that you need to have your life planned out right then and choose and invest so much and get into debt or whatever and make that tough choice. It's a crazy thing to ask the youth to do, especially when they're not prepared for it. Especially when half the time what you're doing in high school and middle school and elementary school is just learning things you won't use really. Okay? Because the reason they do that, you know why they make you do things you're not going to use later on in life? Because the government isn't trying to cater to everybody. They're just weeding people out who won't be the best.
Exactly.
So only the people will get straight A's. They'll put them in the best schools and make them successful people. But everybody else, you just figure it out. And that's why they make you do those things. They're just weeding people out early.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Sam is right. You guys are all right. Things need to change, but they need to change early. I don't know what it is. I never taught in elementary school. But I think that, like, what the video did get right is this whole thing of, like, kids sitting, listening to the teacher talk for 8 hours a day is probably not the way to go. I think.
And to add on to what you just said, right? Like we're having kids go from high school to college. Someone who has to raise. I mean, I'll give you a personal. Remember Maseka in fucking senior year, bro? I remember 2 years before graduation, she would let me go to the bathroom, so I raised my hand.
Mhm.
2 days later, I was supposed to show up to class on my own accord, go to class if I wanted to, study if I wanted to. No one prepared me for that shit because for so long you're
Right.
like, yep, I got to do this
Yeah.
according to their report. And now it's go ahead, swim in the ocean. I didn't even learn how to fucking swim in high school, man. How you want me to swim in the ocean in college?
Yeah, and
So that's a very good point.
When it happened to me, and fortunately it happened to me maybe a little bit earlier than other people. It's like I failed organic. I basically failed my 4th semester in college, and I almost got into academic probation to the point because I didn't really like what I was doing, and I switched my major. Then when I switched my major, I did well for a few courses, but then I failed again. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't until my 3rd year I realized the subjects I'm taking don't matter. It's not. It's just about doing what you have to do and just treating it like a job, basically. And once you figure that out, the classes I failed, a couple of them, I retook them and I got a 4 point. You know. So for anybody listening in the future, for prosperity's sake, just have fun. It's all about just taking responsibility and doing what you need to do. School does not tell you how smart you are or how capable you are. It's just a way to get certified to get a job. It's like Einstein said, man, if you evaluate a fish on how it can climb a tree, it's gonna fail. Sometimes school isn't the way to best show what you can do for the world, and that's just the way it is.
Make your memories, boys. Make your memories in college. Those are the best memories of your life.
It's ultimately one of the biggest factors in your life, though. What
Yeah.
school determines a huge factor. You can live in the same block, in the same neighborhood. One kid goes to Eastern and one kid goes to East Lansing. It makes a world of difference.
It does.
Yeah.
What he's exposed.
Shout out to Tony.
What he's Tony was, but he grew up with us, so at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What school you go to, what habits, who's your friends. But I know people like you guys in terms of that, so it makes a huge difference in terms of that. I agree. And the way I see it is, the school doesn't. The younger kids, since it's an education, like 1 year, you have to learn how to do this by this year, this by this year, and this by this year. It doesn't allow you to explore different things, because when you explore different things, you become passionate about different things, and you learn hard work because you're passionate and you just innately want to work hard at it. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody. That's one thing I never like doing. Just because you told me doesn't mean I'm going to work hard at it.
Yeah.
Going back with you guys, and it's funny how all of us had academic struggles when we went to college, even though, we were different in high school, but like, I graduated with honors in high school. My first year I was in the semi-honors classes, but shit went left for me after that, you know what I'm saying? In terms of, I was on track to graduate in 3 years, and then I said, nah, I'll take another major to graduate in 5. And then 4 years in, I'm just like, why am I studying to be a physics and math major and pre-med on top of that? This is nothing what I want to do. I just liked it because what people said, like, oh man, Sam works hard. He's amazing. Even though I just could care less about any of those. And it spiraled. And then life happens. When life happened, I didn't know how to deal with different things in life. I didn't know how to deal with racism. I didn't know how to deal with my brother's stuff. So I dealt with it by not going to school and failing. And it took me 9 years to get my undergrad, and then I guess 11 years to get my master's total, my undergrad and master's. So that was my journey, even though I came in with 20 credits into college. But I had 20 credits my freshman year, which is for my high school, you know what I'm saying? but I didn't know the value of hard work, and I did not know how to deal with life when life came at you, because I just didn't know. I didn't know how to overcome some things that are completely outside my control. Because if it was in my control, my talent usually ended up beating me, helping me out.
Yeah. Okay.
Quickly before we move on, I just want to circle back to what Eve said earlier about like putting these like 17, 18-year-olds in a position where they're taking on massive amount of debts just seems like predatory lending to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, like, if I can't get a loan
Preach.
for anything else, but you'll trust me, here's $50K a year, and then you're like 3 years deep and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the solution is. I would encourage anyone out there, like, don't be afraid to, go the community college route, right? Like, you can kill it in community college and get to any university that you want to, especially if you have, like decent grades in high school and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's wild how much student debt we're giving folks that are just like so young.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to move on, but I do want to say something because John said something. Yes, if you are not from a well-to-do family, really consider community college, because what I've learned is that what school you go to, it doesn't change anything about the education you get. Really, it depends on your professors. But what school you go to, it changes how the experiences you'll have, but not so much the courses. So if you're more of trying to be more practical, look into community college for 2 years, then go to the school you want to do for 2 years. You'll save money that way. Or if you're not even sure you want to go to college yet, don't apply. Take a year off. Okay? Figure it out. And do other things first. Get a job. Yeah, I've seen people succeed. Then they come back to college later on. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So,
not a race.
and I don't. Since we've all sort of talked negatively, I do want to say there are many jobs that do need people to do well in college, like engineers and lawyers and things like that, and doctors.
Right.
So, and if you know what you want to do since you're 16 and that's the route you take, good for you and congratulations. You're set, and that's I really respect
better
you,
than me.
people like you guys. But it took me a while to realize that I'm more of a practical person, and research is something I like to do, and then also writing and stuff. So, it took me a while.